Hello everyone, this is Roya News, and today we are having an interview with His Excellency Ambassador Chen Chuandong, China's ambassador to Jordan. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for joining us.
It's great to have you here, Ahmed, and again, it's a great pleasure talking to Roya TV again.
Well, it's very lovely to have you here. First of all, the United States is imposing wave after wave of tariffs, and although it has stopped in the last week or so, what is China doing to react to these measures? And what is the effect of these measures on the Chinese economy?
The U.S., under the so-called reciprocal tariff, has levied tariffs on almost all countries, nations in the world. And of course, for China, it's absurdly high tariffs round after round. We have made our position very clear on a number of occasions. We believe that the United States, using tariffs as a weapon, is attacking all countries indiscriminately. This is a serious violation of the WTO rules, and it's also an attack on the legitimate interest of all countries, an attack on the international economic and trade order. It is a typical act of unilateralism, trade protectionism, and also economic bullying. It is also against the basic laws of economics and the market principle. We believe that this should be opposed by all countries in the world. And for China, what we have done, of course, we are very much against this act, and we have taken legitimate and forceful countermeasures. Sometimes if you try to reason with somebody, it doesn't work, and you have to use the language that they understand. Why China has stood up against the US bullying? Of course, we're protecting our own interest, but at the same time, we're also trying to safeguard international rules, try to safeguard the multilateral trading system. We want to avoid the situation where we go back to the age of the international order or the world order ruled by the laws of jungles. We think that there could be no winners for either trade war or tariff war. There could be no winners. We don't want to fight, but we're not afraid of fighting. If we have to fight, we'll fight till the end. At the same time, as I said, the international community should come together to oppose such unilateral action and also bullying. So, other than our countermeasures against the United States, we have done two things. Number one, boost domestic demand, consumption. Number two, open wider to the outside world. A few days ago, we had a meeting of China's State Council, which is the Cabinet of China. So the meeting emphasized the importance of boosting consumption and domestic demand in China, upgrade our industries, and we also encourage the companies to keep the jobs, don't lay off people. At the same time, make more investment in vocational training, and try to stabilize our foreign trade, foreign investment. So, for example, we're supporting our exporting companies to sell their products in China. And we are also helping foreign investors to make new investment in China. There are a number of new areas for consumption in the service sector, for example, caring for the elderly, childbirth support, tourism. And the government has also rolled out a very robust program to support consumption, giving subsidies to consumer goods. So my daughter got a brand new Huawei phone using the subsidies from the government. And we're also helping, as I said, Chinese exporting companies to sell their products in China, not only the government, but also Chinese supermarkets. They're welcoming these products into their markets. At the same time, despite the unilateral action by the United States, we are still very firmly committed to opening up to the outside world so that we can share our benefit together. Not long ago, you have probably noticed that my president was on a visit to a few countries, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Cambodia, so in our neighboring countries. During his visit, we have reached agreement on a few hundreds cooperation projects. Last year, actually, we have eliminated all restrictions on investment on China's manufacturing sector. So foreign companies enjoy the same status as Chinese companies. And the Canton Fair is ongoing. Many of our Jordan friends are there. We hope that through our cooperation, especially with our country's cooperation partners under the Belt and Road Initiative, we will be able to counter unilateralism through multilateralism and win-win cooperation. So in a nutshell, we hope that we'll be able to bring stability to this very unpredictable world.
Regarding multilateralism, China's economy, some might say, is very dependent on global trade. What do you think these tariffs have a long-term impact on the Chinese economy? What can we expect? Is the Chinese economy resilient enough to withstand these tit-for-tat measures and keep going with the United States if they want to further escalate anymore?
A very good question. China is the number 2 biggest economy in the world, and also we're the second biggest consumer market. Over the years, we have been trying to improve our industrial structure and model of economic development. Our dependence on foreign trade has dropped considerably over the years. And we believe that, of course, there will be long-term, short-term impact on Chinese export. But Chinese, our trade with the U.S., our export to the U.S. only accounts for 14.7% of all China's export. And American tariffs are not something new to China. In 1927, the Americans launched the first round of trade war against China. They raised tariffs. What we have done, we have tried to diversify our markets, and we have expanded our trade with emerging markets, especially with the Belt and Road Initiative, these countries under this initiative. So we're the biggest partner for almost 150 countries and regions in the world. And our trade with countries under the BRI initiative accounts for 51% of all our trade. Last December, we give the zero tariff treatment to all LDC, the least developed countries around the world, covering 100% of tariff lines. And China actually is the first major economy that has done so. We believe that we also have a huge domestic market. As I mentioned, we're boosting our domestic demand. We're able to resist or deal with this shock from external challenges. So through the years, as I said, we have tried to boost our consumption, so we have a more balanced development of investment, trade, and consumption. And we believe that we have a much stronger driver for economic growth in China. But we believe that all this can point to our confidence that we're able to, as I said, give more stability to a very unstable world. So we're confident about our future. Of course, this will also encourage us to be more self-reliant and improve our supply chain.
China filed a case at the World Trade Organization against these measures and against these tariffs. What does China expect from this case? And is it considered an aggressive move, perhaps, to counteract, or is it perhaps just a legal issue and you're trying to make it right at the World Trade Organization?
Well, unlike some other countries, China is observing the WTO rules. So according to the WTO rules, we have filed a lawsuit at the WTO, and the US has accepted to have consultation under the WTO dispute settlement mechanism. We hope it will work. So we'll pursue our case according to the rules, and we believe that people will come to a right conclusion out of this.
Recently, there has been reports that indicate no high-level talks between China and the United States, only perhaps on a lower or mid-level. there has been basically no breakthrough in these talks or negotiations. There were some hints from the White House, for example. They spoke this week about a possible deal with China. What is China doing to break this deadlock in the negotiations?
Well, you know, we are open to consultation with the Americans to talk about our trade dispute. But there are principles that we have to observe for dialogues, and there are red lines. Threatening, coercion, blackmailing is not the right way to deal with China. It has never been the right way to do so. It is the Americans who launched this tariff war against China and against the other countries. We have a saying in China, those who tie the bell on the neck of a tiger has to untie it himself or herself. So we believe that if the Americans are sincere to talk about how to resolve these problems, they should try to act in a different way, not in this wrong way, and try to create some atmosphere for our dialogue. You probably have heard from the American officials saying that there have been contacts between China and the US. This is fake news. We're not talking to them until they show respect and show their sincerity to talk with us. As I said, sometimes you have to use the language that they understand to talk to them. Eventually, we believe that as the two leading economies in the world, China and the US have to get along. And it's not only in the interest of the two countries, but also for the whole world, including Jordan. But we have been very clear, we don't want to fight, but if we want to fight, okay, we'll fight till to the end. If we want to talk, okay, the door is open. But stop blackmailing, stop using this so-called maximum pressure, and you have to talk to us in an equal and respectful manner so we can find a win-win solution to the problems. So that's our position, it's very clear.
Do you think these news coming from American media that there are possible negotiations, do you think maybe this is weakness from the American side, maybe?
Well, I think the Americans have to answer this question, but for me, what I see is a growing opposition from countries, including China and others, to oppose this unilateral action. And also the market has reacted to this abusive behavior of the Americans. I hope that they can draw lessons and reverse their course.
Could these measures perhaps lead China to opening up more to other regions, other countries, perhaps more untapped markets or markets that are not or still small, let's say relatively small, perhaps in regions like the Middle East or in this case maybe Jordan, for example?
Despite the free trade agreement with the Americans, Jordan has been, I think, it's getting 20% tariffs. This is unreasonable and it's unfair. We also have Chinese businesses who have investment here, especially in the garment sector. They are also a victim to the additional tariffs. And they are major exporters for Jordanian products to the United States. And I also understand some companies that buy materials from China, process, and then export to the US. These companies are also affected. But in Chinese philosophy, we always believed if there are challenges, there are also opportunities. So we believe that because China and Jordan and countries in the region have always enjoyed mutual respect. We have always had very profound friendship among our peoples. And because of the economic development stages and industrial policies of our countries, we have also very broad prospect for future cooperation. Our economies are highly complementary, and we have enjoyed steady and robust economic and trade relations with Jordan, resulting in a benefit for our two peoples. And also our trade relations have been very resilient. If you look at COVID, our trade dipped for 1 year and then it shot up again after COVID, even during COVID. So I believe with the strategic partnership between our two countries, with the visionary guidance of our leaders, and with the active participation of business from two sides, we have a lot of opportunities. As I said earlier, we are also trying to diverse our market. And at the same time, we also welcome Jordanian products in Chinese markets. I think maybe we can draw lessons from this episode so that we can build more resilient supply chain and we will make our economies also more resilient through this.
Mr. Ambassador, could this custom duties imposed by the U.S. be seen as maybe some sort of revenge against China, maybe? As China's economy is constantly expanding and booming and could perhaps overtake the United States, and in some sectors it maybe already has.
Very good question. I wouldn't characterize it as a revenge because if you're talking about revenge, that means you were hurt by someone or some country. But China has not been hurting the United States. Relations, especially trade relations between the two countries, are mutually beneficial. We're not getting money from the U.S. for nothing. We sell products to the U.S. So it's trade. It's not like charity giving money. And some people say, okay, it's the United States that helps China to grow. Well, of course, we benefit from open free trade. We benefit from globalization. But I think what is the most important thing for China's growth is that Chinese people work so hard. We work very hard, so we have a vision from our leaders, we have steady course for our development, we have strategies, and we stick to the strategies. So that's why China has been growing. It's not because charity from a certain country. So we believe that it is wrong to look at China in a way that China is to overtake the U.S., because China, for us, our purpose is very simple. We want to give better lives for our children. We are not taking over the U.S. as a world cop or the so-called a leader that would dictate every country. Throughout our history, we don't have such DNA. If you look at China, many Jordanian friends said, okay, look, we understand China. China has the Great Wall. Why was the Great Wall built? It was used to defend against aggression from the tribes in the north. So it is not in our DNA to have occupation or colonialism against other countries. We have been a trading nation throughout the history. In Jordan and petrol, I'm going to petrol probably in a few weeks, petrol was a key link for the ancient Silk Road trade between China and Europe and also the Middle East. So I think the American people have to understand that these two great countries have to live in peace and harmony. That, as I said, it's not only in the benefit of two countries, but also to the world. Because if the two big countries fight, all the other countries will suffer. We don't want to have that situation.
The measures China is taking to safeguard its economy, you talked about, in the first answer, you talked about boosting local economy and concentrating more on that side. Is that considered closing, or is it just protective?
No, not at all. Our strategy is to have, we call it double circulation, internal circulation and also external circulation. And these two kinds of circulations complement each other. By boosting internal circulation, what we mean is that we want to have a unified market. In China, unfortunately, we still have local protectionism in some cases. Some of our markets are fragmented. So what we're trying to do is that we'll have a stronger and unified market, so all the forces for production, all these factors will be utilized in the best way. At the same time, we believe that by opening up, we can build our economy stronger. If you look at China's trajectory, our growth has been coupled with our opening up to the world. In China, when we say reforms, we always say reforms and opening up to the world. So that goes hand in hand. So we're not closing the country, but rather, as I said, we're opening wider to the world.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you having us and us having you. Thank you for your time very much.
It's a great pleasure talking to you and to have you here at the embassy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.